Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of Business Today. This week we take a look at what the weakening dollar means for savers here in Russia, as well as the investigations being faced by oil major TNK-BP. But first, the passing week has seen the Russian government set out new rules for foreign investors' access to strategic sectors, including military, space, nuclear energy, natural resources and the media. The law has been in the making since 2005, with the State Duma approving the bill in a second reading on Friday. The draft law bans foreign investors from controlling Russian companies in strategic sectors and requires them to gain permission if they wish to take a stake in a Russian firm in a strategic sector. The bill has seen many changes, and in its final version, power grids, telecoms and internet providers are no longer classed as strategic.
It lies within the trends which currently can be seen in Europe or in the United States, and actually which is really natural for many governments in the world. If you have a look at resource segments, in many developing economies they are not owned by foreign companies. They are even not always private. Definitely not all the strategic sectors, they need to be controlled locally actually, and I see nothing bad sometimes when foreign business present. What is good in this law is that it does not prohibit completely the entrance of foreign companies in these segments.
Russian steel giant Severstal has reached agreement to purchase the Sparrows Point steel mill in the United States for $810 million. Regulators had ordered ArcelorMittal to sell the mill in the course of its merger to satisfy anti-monopoly regulations. Severstal will pay cash for the plant, and the sale is the latest in a string of acquisitions in North America by Russian steel firms. Billionaires Mikhail Prokhorov and Vladimir Potanin have decided not to liquidate KM Invest, although they've been trying to divide up their assets for over a year. The firm holds joint assets worth more than $14 billion, including stakes in metals giant Norilsk Nickel and Russia's top gold producer Polya Zoloto. Russian incomes are on the rise and so is consumer spending, but financial savings accounts, most of which are kept in Russian rubles, aren't increasing at the same rate. Danielle Logar has more.
With inflation on the rise, many Russians are saving less of their money and are spending more of it, while purchasing power remains relatively strong.
The number of people who regularly save money hasn't changed. It's pretty much stayed at 15%. Any change that has taken place has been very low.
The low level of savings in Russia, coupled with the growing problems of liquidity on world markets, is a potential constraint on economic growth, according to experts, who say increased savings could become a source of investment. About half of Russians have monthly incomes which cover their living needs. Russians who are saving money most frequently do so in rubles, but the US dollar and euro are also kept.
Before the dollar started going down and the euro started rising up, I used to keep all my money in rubles because ruble was very stable for me. Now I start keeping my money in euros. When I have large sums of money, I buy euros and keep them in this currency.
Amid growing concerns over the weakening dollar, Russian Finance Minister Alexei Kudrin has advised Russians to save money and diversify the world currencies in which they save. The introduction of new financial instruments could help meet the needs of savers and investors and help to change financial patterns in the country. Danielle Logar, Russia Today.
Russia's environmental watchdog plans to launch a probe into the biggest field operated by TNK-BP. The announcement of the investigation came just a day after Russia's Federal Security Service raided the company's offices in Moscow and arrested an employee for commercial espionage. Alexandra Andreeva reports.
The environmental agency Rospirodnadzor will check TNK-BP's Samatlour field production unit in March or April. Samatlour, the largest oil field in Russia located in Siberia, was discovered in 1965. TNK-BP started operations there in 1995, when production volumes decreased significantly. After major investment, TNK-BP managed to raise production by 23 million tons per year and plans to boost this to 35 million by 2010. The environmental agency says it's a routine check alongside with inspections of other firms. But the announcement came just a day after the Federal Security Service had arrested TNK-BP's employee Ilya Zaslavsky and his brother on suspicion of industrial espionage. The Security Service carried out searches on Wednesday in the Moscow offices of TNK-BP and BP Trading Limited. Tenke BP says it's continuing with its normal course of work and is cooperating with authorities.
The company has never supported any action designed to contradict or damage the interests of Russia. We continue to cooperate with Russian authorities to resolve any current issues using the established Russian processes, and meanwhile the company continues to operate and conduct its business activities as usual.
The inspection will be led by Oleg Mitvol, who 2 years ago found environmental violations in the operation of Royal Dutch Shell in its Sakhalin-2 project. Soon after, Shell sold a controlling stake in the $22 billion project to Gazprom. Alexandra Andreeva, Russia Today.
And that is the business for now. Back to the main news headlines. Stay with us.